I already tried to record this and I checked the time on my phone and I realised I wasn't even recording and I was like 10 minutes into this conversation. Okay, so where was I? I have to go back to the very start. Okay. I had a great day today. It was really, really good. I am very tired though. I was in work this morning. I was up at 5:30. And then I finished work at 12. My bike broke, so I got help to fix that. It's fine, it's sorted now. Then I went for a run straight after work, and that was great because I only went for a run last night, and usually I would go 3 times a week, but last night was my first night this week, and it was Saturday night, and I felt really guilty, so I really pushed myself last night and pushed myself today. So that was great. I came home and I done things in the house I needed to do. I walked the dogs. I went and got shopping, grocery shopping. I made dinner. I had a shower, and now I'm just sitting down having a wee chat with myself because it's needed. I had some really interesting thoughts today in work. This is where I get all of my thoughts for conversations with myself in work, because I'm so busy doing other things and I'm sort of like a robot in work where I'm just like dun 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 dun, and because I just know what I'm doing straight away, I'm able to sort of take myself out of my head and think of something else that is not related to what I'm doing right in front of me. So it's like I'm having a conversation with myself. Yeah, it's very interesting, but sometimes it's too interesting and there's too much going on in my head, so I have to write it down because it's very interesting, but it goes in too deep in my head. The conversation goes in too deep and I need to pull myself away from it because it's very distracting when I get very deep into that conversation with myself. So I need to sort of, I have to have a wee bit of a reality moment and just come back to gravity and concentrate on what is right in front of me instead of what is going on in my head. So the conversation with myself, the thoughts I had today, I took a little note and I wrote it down of this thought because I thought this was very interesting. So I wrote, they're not going to stay this version of themselves and neither are you. Okay? Which is true in any relationship. So also there was like a little fleeting thought after that main thought, and it was, you think that they are full, meaning they're a complete person. Your first sort of meeting with a person, you think that they're complete and they are the version of themselves that they were meant to be. So you think that they're full or are whole, but they're not, and neither are you. So I think a lot of us go into relationships based on the first meeting with someone, because people can put on a very good facade, if that's the right word. And I don't think it's always intentional. I think people are just generally, happy and excited, and that's the best version of themselves at the moment because, it's something new and exciting and it could potentially lead to a relationship, which is very exciting. But a lot of people, myself included, I think, fall in love with the idea of who that person is when you first meet them. And that person, when you first meet them, and vice versa, is not the version of themselves that they're going to be in a week's time or that they were the week before, because we're constantly changing, we're constantly evolving, and new experiences change us as humans. As we learn, we change and we develop and we grow. So no one ever really stays the same And just like good people and bad people, no one's really born bad. But events happen in people's lives, and experiences that they have had lead on to the person that they become. And that's throughout your whole life, up until you're an old person, from your very young age. Those experiences throughout your whole life change you and mold you into a new person every day. And you don't see it and you don't notice it, especially not in yourself. Sometimes you'll notice it if you look back on yourself in a year or two, and you think, God, I'm a different person. I'm in a completely different place. And that's happened to me. So it has. I think it's a very normal thing. But I think it's very dangerous to convince yourself, without even convincing yourself, that the person that you meet is just the person for you, without sort of exploring their flaws, or just really thinking that they are their whole, and you don't need to help them or try to fix them in any way. And you can work on you and they can work on them, and that's something you do throughout the rest of your lives, and it's progress every single day, because that is life. It's progress every single day. But yeah, it probably isn't making sense, but it was just a thought. They're not going to stay this version. Yeah, so at the very start of the relationship, that person is not the person you're going to see in 6 months' time, or 9 months' time, or a year's time. That's not the same person. And vice versa. They see you for the first time. You're not going to be the same person to them in a year's time, You'll be a very different person. And that's because they have been involved in your experiences and you've been involved in theirs, and you change and you grow, and feelings change and you grow other feelings, anger, resentment, more love, trust, But yeah, that's something to really think about, and I've thought about that a lot today, is that they're not the full version of themselves, because nobody really is the full version of themselves. And you can be certain versions of yourself depending on where you've been, your experiences, who you're with, how comfortable you feel. But you change so much throughout life, through every single tiny experience, that I don't really ever think that we are ever going to be the full version of ourselves. I mean, we keep on working on it, because that's what you do. You don't give up. You just keep on working on you. And you can feel that. You could probably feel like, yes, I'm definitely the person I'm meant to be, or I'm where I'm meant to be, and this is how I'm supposed to be. But in a year's time, that might be completely different. Your life could change dramatically in such a short space of time. And then you find yourself in a situation where you're a different version of yourself completely, which you didn't know that version of you could ever exist. And that's very interesting, because I think a lot of us sort of revert back to how we were as kids and what sort of children we were, and that sort of stays with us the whole way through adulthood. I think it does change, but the little kid is still there inside all of us. That wee personality is still there, but it just changes and it grows and it evolves with life and things that happen in life and the things that are thrown at you. So I don't ever think that we're ever really truly the full version of ourselves. We're just always evolving and changing into the next better version. I think there's so many different versions of one person. And sometimes you will meet a person and in a short space of time, you'll see all of those different versions, which can be cool and can be not cool. It can be scary and it can be quite terrifying. Yeah, it can be quite terrifying. But nobody's perfect. No one is perfect. And no one is... I can only speak for myself. I'm not perfect by any means. I don't think people are perfect. I think that's what makes us who we are. And our imperfections make us a bit more perfect because we're so different. And if you're able to learn from your imperfections, doesn't mean to say you have to change them. If you're able to learn from them and just adjust to them and make them work for you, instead of just thinking, I'm not the sort of person I need to be, or I have to be, or I'm supposed to be. Instead of beating yourself down about that, just sort of getting on with it and trying to work a way around your imperfections to make it perfect for you, you know? Because no one is like squeaky clean perfect. No, nobody is. It's not possible. It's just not. Yeah, I think I sort of said all I needed to say. It probably didn't make a lot of sense, but yeah, I don't really know where else to go from there. It probably doesn't make sense, but yeah, that's me. Okay, bye.